Even in my business, I received 60 no's before I received my first yes for a coaching client. Your why doesn't have to be some deep, life-changing answer. It can just be that I like routine. Maybe your only purpose is to be exactly where you are, and that's it. Confusion and clarity are a cycle that we are meant to go through throughout life. So to expect yourself to be in a constant state of clarity is being unfair to yourself. So I think that persistence and self-trust are things that have made this journey more fun and easier for me along the way.
Hello everyone, this is Rakesh, your coach, author, speaker, and career transformation expert. Welcome to my podcast, Let's Talk Clarity. Let's Talk Clarity, in which we discuss about career transformation, productivity, and life fulfillment. Let's start the episode and talk clarity. Hello Raashi, welcome to Let's Talk Clarity podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Wow, I'm also so much excited about this podcast because I can see so many careers in the last 15 years. We have changed so many careers, and I'll definitely want to understand what was driving in these whole careers, so many careers in the last 15 years. Let's start the podcast with a little bit of introduction about you in 2-3 minutes. Where are you right now and what are you doing right now?
All right. So at the moment, I'm a mindset and wellness coach, money mindset and manifestation expert, and inspirational speaker. And I work primarily with women and also men when it calls out to me to empower them and help them find more freedom and manifest more abundance in their lives. So I work with concepts like self-love, spirituality, intuition, and I basically work to simplify them so that it's easy to apply in your life, because these can be very complex concepts. But I explain them in simple language so that my clients can apply them in their life and manifest freedom in their body, in their mind, in their finances, in their love life, and essentially just become a magnet for their desires and intentionally create the life that they want.
Wow, that was great. Even I also find it very difficult to understand spirituality and food and finance. Means I also want so much clarity about that. I know you have been shifting so many careers, but how you find your clarity of career? How did you find your clarity?
I think, and I say this very often to my clients as well, that confusion and clarity are a cycle that we are meant to go through throughout life. So to expect yourself to be in a constant state of clarity is being unfair to yourself. But the one thing that really helped me gain clarity at every level of my career when I made a different career choice was the fact that I'm not okay with being uninspired or stuck in my life. I don't like feeling that way. And so if I ever did feel that way, I always asked myself, what now? What would I like to do? What makes me feel alive? And what path would I like to take now? And in asking myself that question, I think I really opened up my mind up to what I would like to do and the next step that I would like to take. And I think it was just the courage to be honest with myself that I'm not feeling inspired anymore. This is not making me feel alive. Having the courage to take the steps that I needed to, whether it was switching a career, switching jobs, or just, choosing a completely different career and starting my own business. These are scary steps, but I completely trusted my intuition. I tuned in with my intuition and I tuned in with my truth and asked myself, what will make me feel alive now? And then I took those steps, because ultimately I feel like the clarity of purpose or the clarity of career is something that you see when you look behind. When you look back at life, you recognize what your purpose was. But when you are moving forward, it's really important to prioritize feeling alive, prioritize enjoying what you do, and also listen deeply to what your intuition is saying, because it's always communicating with you.
Wow, that was great. That was great answer, that we have to feel alive.
Yeah.
And in this, while listening to your answer, I was just going into my mind, and I was just thinking that where I am feeling alive. And the answer came very easily, that while I'm recording this podcast, I always feel alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, So, but how was this journey? Means from shifting from doing a job in a corporate to doing your own business, how difficult this transition was?
Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to be my own boss. And it was only a matter of time that, my jobs taught me what they needed to. And it was only a matter of time that I felt the need to embark on this journey on my own. And when I did, it felt like a no-brainer. No matter how scary it was, it felt like I need to see where this calling is taking me, and I need to see how I can impact other people's lives through my own journey and through the lens of my own journey. And how can I share what I've been through with other people to make their lives better? And that in itself made it easy. For me, failure has never existed as a word. I always say that I get whatever I want. And so if someone asks me, have you failed? I will always say no, because I always think that it's just a learning process. And it just never occurs to me that I failed, right? So I decided I wanted it and I went after it, no matter what it took. I was persistent, I was resilient, and I never thought twice. I just did the things that I needed to, and I went ahead and did it. Having said that, it has its own set of challenges. It requires you to grow on multiple fronts. It requires you to learn new things. For example, I'm a coach, but I'm not just a coach. I'm also my back-end website manager. I'm also my own accounts team. I'm also a content creator. I'm also a social media manager. So it requires you to wear a lot of different hats, and it definitely requires you to expand in your capacity to be able to do things. And most importantly, expand in your capacity to be able to trust yourself. So I think that persistence and self-trust are things that have made this journey more fun and easier for me along the way.
Wow, that was great. But how is this journey of solo entrepreneur? Means how to make those time management things, and how to be more productive in this solo entrepreneur? Because there's no boss, there's no deadlines. The deadlines,
yeah,
the deadlines are given by self. We can take leaves as many days as we want. But how to be this productive in this solo entrepreneurship journey?
I think the first thing is to recognize your purpose and recognize that your purpose is larger than you. It's larger than yourself. As a coach, I recognize that my purpose is about helping other people live a life of freedom and abundance, right? To be able to help other people master their mind, to be able to regulate their emotions, and overall just live a richer life. I think recognizing that your purpose is larger than you and you won't know it till the time you reach the end of it is one thing. The second thing is the challenges I've been through in life at a very, very early stage, right? In my teens, I developed drive. So I've always been very driven because of the challenges that I went through. And I've been independent because of that as well. And I think that drive has served a great purpose in this journey of being a solopreneur. And as far as time management is concerned, you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to have enough self-respect to draw boundaries and understand that I can only work this much in a day. And this is how much I want to work in a day. And this is how much I choose to work in a day. But it has a lot to do with your own mental health and your own well-being. So you have to prioritize your own mental health, your own physical health in order to be the solopreneur. Because when you are the energy driving the business, right? So your energy matters so much. So having those boundaries in place and saying, this is a non-negotiable for me where my health and well-being is concerned. So for example, for me, 3 hours in the morning are dedicated just to myself. I do breath work, I meditate, I journal, I work out, I eat my breakfast, and that sets me up for the rest of the day. The second thing is I know that I don't want to work more than 4 hours a day. So I choose to work 4 hours a day. And that's clarity that I had right at the beginning when I started, because it ties in with some of the manifesting concepts that I teach. So it's my job to honor those boundaries, right? If I choose to work 5 hours a day, or I then say, oh no, it's fine, I can do 8 hours a day. A, it's compromising my own health and well-being. B, I'm not honoring my own boundaries. So in the long run, it's just going to lead to burnout. So for time management, this has always been my favorite. I just use Google Calendar. I schedule things in there, whether it's a workout, whether it's a therapy session with my own therapist, whether it's courses that I'm doing myself, my coaching calls, or even a trip to the beauty parlor. I block that off on my calendar and I won't do anything else in that time. So scheduling things is the best time management tool there is. And of course, I love making to-do lists. So I use this book called The Tiny Change Planner, which helps you create monthly goals, weekly goals, and to-do lists. And I absolutely love that. And I use that tool as well to help me on this journey.
Great. I think this scheduling your calendar is coming out very well. And it is the one of the topmost thing for an solo entrepreneur or maybe any entrepreneur or any corporate executive. Scheduling your time and managing your time is very important. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and you all already answered that the Google Calendar is the one thing which you use for managing your time. Is there any other tool you use for your productivity and time management?
I barely use productivity. I use efficiency more. I think it's about making good use of your time. So if I can do something in 5 minutes, that's productivity can sometimes tell us that it's about doing things all the time. And I feel like efficiency is about doing things in less time. So I outsourced when I realized I had the opportunity to. I hired my first team member this year, and that gave me great relief. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's important to recognize in your journey when it's time to outsource and hire other people with expertise to help you, because time equals money, energy equals money. And if you're sitting and doing everything yourself, you're never going to be able to upscale, reach more people, or even generate more income. So that's something that I do. And apart from that, like I said, I have some very strong boundaries in place. There will be, I don't look at my phone till I finish my rituals in the morning. I have set times for when I will respond to clients on text message, for example. I have set times for when I take my coaching calls as well. And then again, I don't pick up my phone after 6 p.m. or don't check my email after 6 p.m. in the evening. And I think that gives me so much peace. Knowing that this is my set schedule and these are my set structures within my business gives me a lot of peace in general.
Yeah, I get a taste of it because I was texting you again and again for this podcast, and I was getting the reply in a scheduled manner. So
yeah.
So that was the good thing, and even that is important that we are not available to everyone and every time.
Yes.
And that same goes for us also. We should not be available for mobile phone every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's take it forward and let's discuss about if any young graduate just graduating this year. So whether he or she should go for entrepreneurship or any job or doing some multinational company. So how to take that decision?
Wow. I can't answer this as a general answer. But I will first answer it from my perspective and then maybe give a different perspective. So personally for me, I started my own business after 12 years of working. I started working at the age of 18 and it was easy to start modeling at 18, right? In modeling, you start young. And then I started my own business at the age of 30. So I truly feel the value of everything that I learned while I was in my jobs. Whether it was the confidence I built while I was modeling. I had stage fright and then I had to wear clothes and walk on the catwalk. So I had to build confidence. Whether it was just the ethics and the communication I learned in a corporate, or it was just, standing up for myself or asking for my worth when I was negotiating my salary. I think all of that helps me so much today in my business. And the self-confidence piece from modeling specifically, I feel so grateful for it today that I went through what I did, because modeling can be a very toxic industry, right? So for me personally, I feel like that was perfect. I don't feel like I would have been prepared as an entrepreneur at the age of 21, fresh out of college, because I think it really teaches you how to work with a team, which is important if you're an entrepreneur who wants to hire a team. It opens you up to different perspectives, different ways of working. It opens you up to accountability, because if you have a boss and you have someone to report to, it gets you into the habit of accountability. So I personally feel like at least doing a job first, and also knowing that, you have stable income coming in, gives you a lot more freedom to express yourself or get creative in other areas of your life as well. That is my perspective in terms of doing a job right out of college or right after you graduate. Having said that, we have examples of Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and all of that. And so if that is what you are being called to do, if you are a genius, if you have a very, very unique perspective and you have complete faith and belief that what you're being called to do is definitely going to create change in this world. And if you have a clear idea about what is calling you, then by all means, go and pursue it. It's amazing to have that kind of creativity and confidence at such a young age. So I would say it would be on an individual basis. But for me, I really feel like having a job teaches you some very important life skills.
Yeah. Yeah, that I could also relate to because I'm also working from last 15, 16 years now. And each day I'm learning, each day I'm growing, and each day I'm learning so many things which I can use now in podcasting, Carvaan Talk, or whatever say. But you named three people, that Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and then Steve Jobs. All three were dropouts.
Yeah.
So I don't know what driven them for this journey, and they made such a big companies after dropping out from their college. And it was definitely to do with their callings, and there must be something which driven them to these paths. So let me ask you, what is driving you in this whole journey of entrepreneurship, or in the last 15 years? What is main driving force for you?
The answer would be feeling alive. It's what's driving me is just that I get so much joy from it. I derive a lot of happiness from it. It gives me energy to be doing this. I love being financially independent. I love managing my money. And now today, for the last 3 years, to be able to see how people's lives are transforming, and not just my clients' lives, but then the entire family, their entire family just transforms in the way they work as a unit, or their outlook, or their health, their well-being, the awareness, their financial situation. I think that contribution is so fulfilling, and that just really keeps me going every time I receive a client message which is like, hey, for example, I wore a bikini today with full confidence when, someone was just wearing loose clothes all the time. Or when one of my clients made 8 times the amount that she was earning in just 2 months. Things like that, to be able to change someone's life like that is such an honor, and it's so humbling. And more than anything, the clients that I come across and the people that I come across, right from you to, my other peers in this industry, and then the clients I get to coach daily, they are so inspiring. When you hear their journeys and when you hear what they've been through in life, it really changes your perspective of this world. It makes you have more faith in humanity. It makes you a more compassionate person. And so it's just like, making my life richer to be doing this on a daily basis.
Wow, great. That's great. I really love the line that this is all driven by feeling alive.
Yeah.
and the one more thing which you easily share is the contribution and the journeys of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I have goosebumps right now, right? Because I have clients who really overcome the biggest challenges, like some of the biggest challenges according to me in life, and then they still show up for their growth every single day in every coaching session. And that's like, what more do you need? I have daily doses of inspiration in my life.
Great. So all these things are inspiration to you, means the client's progress and contribution back to society. So if someone is working in an office or in a corporate, how to get that fulfillment? Because in an entrepreneur journey, we get fulfilled by seeing our clients. But in office, it is really difficult in those deadlines and clients and customers and peers, politics. So how to get that fulfillment in office scenario? Because you have been to this journey in the last 12 years before jumping into the entrepreneur journey. Yeah. So how to get the fulfillment in the corporate jobs or salary job?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer this in 2 parts. The second part is going to be from my own journey and my own perspective. The first part being that remember why you started doing it in the first place, right? Remember your why and what got you excited about doing this job, and ask yourself, how can you tune into that energy, or how can you feel that why or that purpose on a daily basis? What work in your daily life, in that job, makes you feel like you are fulfilling that purpose? You are fulfilling your why and you're living your why. Because yes, there are so many meetings, so many emails to respond to, so many chai and coffee breaks. And then there are so many times where you're just sitting and doing nothing, right? So go back to your why, ask yourself, how can you connect to that why on a daily basis by doing at least one thing for maybe 15 minutes that makes you feel connected to that? And if the answer is that, this is the second part, if the answer is that nothing in this job is about why why I started this job, then it's time to really ask yourself the question, will I feel more fulfilled somewhere else?
Oh wow, that's a great answer, and I was able to feel that. uh, while listening to your answer, I was going into my life and searching for my whys, how I started and how I landed in the job. And when I started the job, it was that everyone graduate means do their 12th standard. And in India, most of the people went to engineer's journey. So I took the engineer journey. And after the engineering, we search for jobs. Somehow we get a job. Means that's the only thing we do while after graduating. And it was very difficult to search for whys those times. Means it is after engineering, we have to do the job. And luckily, I got a very good job, and I'm still doing that job. But the why means I'm still searching for that why. Is there any framework how to find our whys and how to find our purpose?
So again, two-part answer. I love doing this bullet pointing things. But
Great.
The first thing is that your why doesn't have to be some deep life-changing answer. It can just be that I like routine and this job is giving me routine. So if in your current job, you don't have a routine or you are working overtime without being paid for it, it means that it's not fulfilling it, right? Because you don't have a routine where you go to work at a certain time, you leave work at a certain time, then you go home and you spend time with your family. Maybe you wanted the job because of a certain amount of income that you felt you could earn on a daily basis. So maybe that was knowing that there would be a certain amount of money coming in every day. And when you look at it right now, you're not feeling fulfilled because you don't think that the work you're doing is being matched by the salary that you're receiving. Right. So then in that case, maybe fulfillment comes from actually going and asking for that raise. If the current company is not giving that raise, then looking at where else you can get that money from, right? So the why doesn't have to be earth-shattering, because for some people, they're seriously like, I just want to go to work in the morning and come back at 6 p.m. and have chai with my family and know that money is going to come in the bank every month. I want to know that I have these many sick days off, I have these many holidays off, I have this much paid leave. Right? That's enough as a why. So even in that, you have enough answers if you're working overtime, like I said, or not getting the money that you like. The second thing with finding your purpose is just asking yourself, what are the things that you find doing in your free time? For me, I used to research workouts. I used to read about food. I used to read recipes, like how people read books. I used to read recipes. As I transitioned in every phase of my career, right, I was looking at what I was doing in my free time. So when I got into modeling and when I was in fashion PR, I used to spend my free time reading fashion magazines and learning about international fashion designers and international luxury brands. After that, when I transitioned into marketing for a sports brand, at that point of time, I was naturally spending a lot of time working out, interested in movement, interested in how your physical health impacts your mental health and all of that. And then after that, when I transitioned into my own business, I was naturally spending a lot of my free time, again, learning about the human mind, learning about nutrition, reading recipes, like I said. And now I spend more time reading about mindset, spirituality, truth, things like that. So ask yourself, what are the things that you're doing in your free time that you naturally gravitate towards? What lights you up? What excites you? What is a burning desire? What is it something that you would wake up in the middle of the night to do if someone asked you to do it? For some people, they're just naturally good at helping people, right? So if you're good at helping people, there are so many professions that you have nowadays. And that's the advantage today's generation has. Even if you were not born in this generation, and even if you're in your 60s, I think we have enough examples of people starting businesses in their 60s where they're pursuing their passion and their purpose. And then I think the last thing is just like, what do you love doing? What comes easily to you? What comes effortlessly to you? These are the things to ask yourself. And maybe you will find what your purpose for now is, and then move forward on that journey. And maybe it will evolve and transition as you grow and evolve.
Wow, that was great answer and insightful. And the one thing which I really picked is that the why is not that big why statement or some vision statement. Working and going to the office 9 to 5, 9 to 6 and returning back and having tea. That's an enough why for someone to continue the job.
Yeah. I have so many moms who come and say, I want to feel more purpose in life. And maybe the only purpose is to be. I remember telling one of my clients that, and she said, that changed my life. Maybe your only purpose is to be exactly where you are. And that's it.
Oh, wow. I really love it. The purpose is to be.
Yeah.
Great, great. That is very insightful to have that fulfillment in purpose of being that person.
Yeah.
So let's take it forward and understand that you have been to so many careers. So what are your three top most highs or top most achievement in your career?
So with every transition I made, I think I had a certain goal. So when I started modeling, I gave myself 2 years to model, and my goal was to do Lakme Fashion Week, walk the ramp for Lakme Fashion Week. And 3 months before I stopped modeling, I walked the ramp for Lakme Fashion Week.
Wow.
So that was my first high. The second one was working for Nike. It was a brand that I always wanted to work for. And I had the opportunity to and the honor to have one of the coolest jobs in the world, according to Google, at Nike, which was an Econ. That was the second high. And then the third one is really just starting my own business and having run it for 3 years and having grown double the amount this year in the last financial year. That's my third high.
Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. In every career, you had your highs, and you have been through this journey of switching the careers also.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. If I ask you, what was the top 3 learnings from your career last 15 years? What would that be?
First one would be to believe in yourself and your vision, whatever that may be, right? Because like I said, if the person's vision is to only have a 9-to-5 job and experience the financial security of a stable income and pension coming in later, that's absolutely fine, because maybe someone else won't believe in that vision. They may just be like, oh, you're living such a boring, mundane life. Have some adventure. There must be more excitement. But that person is speaking to you from their perspective, right? And let's say you have some really crazy, wild ideas and you want to live this abundant, luxurious life, and you have this vision of a really big business. Then you have to believe in it first, because no one else is going to believe in it. It's your dream, it's your vision, it's your desire. So you get to believe in it, even when no one else does. And I remember when I started this business, this vision of this business was the only thing I had. At that point in my life, everything had fallen apart. I didn't have one single stable thing in my life. The only thing that kept me going was that this vision kept coming up for me over and over again. So you have to believe in yourself, because no one else will, no one else has to, and no one else needs to. Right? It's not their job to. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, as I mentioned earlier, resilience and persistence. These are 2 qualities that will get you very far and that will lead to success no matter what. I do believe skills, intelligence, creativity are all important, but all of these without resilience and persistence don't go very far. So resilience and persistence are 2 qualities that will get you very far in an entrepreneurial journey, in your job, and in life as well. And then the third thing would be to be authentic and real, because there are so many coaches, for example. There are so many inspirational speakers. There are so many people who are there to interview for the job. But what truly sets you apart is your own uniqueness, your own unique perspective, your own life journey, and the thought process and the perspective you have as a result of it. Even Ivy League colleges like Harvard look for what is unique about you, because ratta to sab koi maar sakta hai, right? You can memorize the theory no matter what. Everyone can memorize the theory. But what sets you apart is the unique life journey that you have and how you bring that to the table. So I think having confidence in who you really are, what you have to say, and using your voice to express it is very important. Being authentic and being real, because people can see through the facade. People can definitely see if you're not being real. So I think these are my top 3 learnings.
Wow, that was amazing, amazing learnings. I'm able to resonate each one of them. And the first one was close to my heart also, that believing in self.
Yeah.
Because the believing in self is where everything starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
The genesis and the transition or transformation, everything starts from self-believing.
Yeah.
Can you share the whole journeys of your careers in 4 to 5 minutes or something, that what all the careers you have been through in a short, so that we get to understand from where these learnings are coming from?
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy to. So I started with modeling at the age of 18. The reason I did that was because I'm 6 feet tall and people around me said, hey, why don't you lose some weight and model? At that point, I was slightly overweight. And so I went ahead and did that. And I thought it was a great way to understand what I would like to pursue as a career in fashion, because I knew I was interested in fashion. Like I said, I was constantly reading fashion magazines, learning about designer houses. So I thought this is so cool. Like I will earn money along the way, I'll model, and I'll also learn about what career options lie in the fashion industry in India. So I gave myself 2 years to do that. And so I modeled for longer than 2 years because I started at 18. I started with really small shows in my hometown, which was Pune. But by the time I was 21, I moved to Bombay. And then there I gave myself 2 years. So till the time I was 23, 24, I modeled. And then as I was modeling, I realized that I was very curious about luxury brands and the impact they have on the economy, the way they sell to their consumers, how they have this really magical and attractive quality to them. And so I decided that I wanted to study luxury brand management. So to do that, I went to France to do my MSc in international luxury and brand management. And after that, I came back to India and worked in fashion PR, worked with brands like Manish Malhotra, H&M, Swarovski, Ensemble. And I did that for another till the time I was about 27, 28. And then I realized that I was feeling unfulfilled. I was feeling stagnant. And I was feeling uninspired doing that. And I asked, now what? And I remember thinking it would either be food or fitness, because those are the two things I was reading about at that time. And I got an offer from Nike. And then I worked with Nike for about 2.5 years in their marketing team, which really shifted my perspective on what healthy means, what health really means, what physical fitness really means. Because up until that point, it was a lot for me about weight and being skinny and being a particular size. And I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. I had a very abusive relationship with my body. And at Nike, I was introduced to these really strong women. I was introduced to athletes. I was introduced to moving as a form of respecting and loving your body. And that really transformed the way I started looking at movement. And then the only stone left to uncover there was the fear that I had around food. So I asked myself the question, what is the best way to get rid of this fear? And very often fear exists because of the unknown. So I realized, I don't know enough about food and nutrition. And I'm just reading up like 1,000 articles a day online, but I don't know if any of the information is legitimate. So maybe I'll just do a course in nutrition. And so then I got certified as a specialist in nutrition, in fitness nutrition. And at the same time, my community on Instagram was reaching out, asking me to give them nutrition advice and saying that, my fitness journey was inspiring them. So it just felt like a no-brainer that, wow, now that I've learned so much about nutrition and through my own journey, transformed my relationship with food and my body, I've really got to help more women and more people, because as I did the work, I realized even men have body image issues. I've really got to help more people feel more free and safe in their own bodies. And so then I started freelancing as a nutritionist. At the same time, I was also a consulting chef at a cafe because I loved creating recipes. So I started off at a small scale where I was just, treating being a nutrition coach as a freelancer, till even in that career, I felt like there has to be more. Because as I worked with my clients, I realized it was never about the nutrition. It was more about the mindset and the emotion. And then I felt like I can add more value. And so then that's when, end 2019, beginning of 2020, I realized I really want to go deeper into this and understand how spirituality, emotions, and mindset impact our relationship with food. Then I went ahead and I learned about money. And now I teach about all of it. So my program became more holistic. In 2020, my teaching became more holistic. And now my primary focus is on your relationship with yourself, and then how that relationship impacts every other relationship in your life, from the relationship you have with money to the one you have with your friends, the one you have with your partner, the one you have with your job, the one you have with food, and the one you have with your body. Because your relationship with yourself is at the center of everything.
Wow, that was amazing journey, and so many careers, and in each career you learned so many things. And Nike is, I think, very close to your heart. The way you narrated and understood the concept of human body and the relationship with food.
Yeah. It was life-changing for me. It really shifted my perspective a lot and opened up my mind a lot.
Wow, that's great. And as a Nike means, I always, because Nike is close to my heart also. Why? Because I always use their tagline when I have to do something or when I have to start something.
Nice.
Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is my tagline also. Whenever if I'm in a double-minded thing and whether to do it or not do it, and I say to Nike, just do it, yeah.
Nice. I like that.
That was great. So let's move on and understand Rashi better. And so, what are you reading right now? Are you reading any book, or are you listening to any podcast?
At the moment, I'm taking a break from reading books because I think I read and learn so much. And I'm also doing a workshop. I'm currently learning more about my own finances. Like I said, my own mental well-being is important. So I keep it doable because I don't want to overwhelm my mind too much. So I'm taking a break from reading. But the last thing I was reading was The Power of Awareness.
Power of Awareness.
Yes, it's a very old book. It's about spirituality and manifesting, but it's like one of the first self-help books in this field of spirituality. So The Power of Awareness is what I was reading. And I recently listened to the Manifestation Babe podcast day before yesterday, which was around, I love listening to other people in the same field as me and understanding, the research that they're doing. So it was basically on the science of manifesting, that podcast. So I listened to that day before yesterday. And apart from that, I think personal growth is a constant journey for me. It's daily work for me, reflecting on what my day was like, where I can improve, what I can do to make my life more fulfilling. And sometimes, especially in my case, it's not about what more I can do. It's sometimes about what can I stop doing, because it tends to be very easy for me to do things. Like I can do a lot. But for me, I've realized through my own personal growth journey that resting and relaxing is something that I need to prioritize, because given an option, I will constantly be doing things. So I've been prioritizing that rest and relaxation so that I can be more efficient and present during my work.
I totally resonate with it, because now there's so much available on internet. So many books are available and Audibles is there and so many podcasts. So which information we should use and which we say no to them, that is becoming very, very important.
Yes.
Because creating and doing and we can do means everything we can do on our laptop. If you want to make a poster on Canva, we can do it by ourselves. We can manage our finance by ourselves, but we have to decide that where I have to outsource it and from which point I have to say no to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I agree. And for me, my mantra for 2022 is to live more life, right? And it's to really be living. And so I've been focusing more on my personal life, going out more, watching more movies, because I've been constantly working on my personal growth for 3 years now. And I know there's a new phase coming up. I can sense it. So right now I'm just taking a break because I'm constantly learning, reading. I'm constantly learning to coach as well. You know this yourself, Rakesh, since you coach as well, that as a coach, you have to constantly learn and grow to provide value to your clients, right? So when I'm learning from an expert or from another coach, or when I'm reading material that has come through my certification, then in that case, that becomes priority rather than, because I tend to read more self-help books than I tend to read fiction. So that's why, same with you. Yeah, I would have guessed that you read that too. So now I'm like, okay, how much more TV can I watch to relax? Because now I get to prioritize that to relax. So yeah, you're so right. Because there's information overload, we get to be more mindful about what is entering our mind, because that can cause overwhelm and cause paralysis and therefore stop us from taking action as well.
There is also a kind of diet for our mind.
Yeah.
So what diet we should eat and what diet we should have for our mind, that is also we have to be mindful with that.
Absolutely. Our mind is exposed to 17 million pieces of information every second. And we get to be mindful of what we're consuming. As you said very rightly, our diet is not just what we eat, it's what's going into our mind. And in fact, we live in a society that places a lot of emphasis on physical health and diet and nutrition and movement, which is all extremely important. I 100% agree. But 95% of disease and illnesses are caused due to stress. And stress is a result of the perspective that you have and the mindset that you have. So being very, very picky about what is entering your mind is important for your overall well-being.
Oh, that was amazing. That was an amazing point which has come up in this conversation.
Yeah.
Great, great. So, your company's name is Holistic Daily by Raashi. So, from where you get this name, and what is the story behind it?
So, fun fact, it's not a registered company.
Okay.
Because I am registered as an individual in the tax system in India for
Okay.
GST and things like that. But my company is not registered. But I did start off by using this for the blog that I had initially.
Okay.
And then with the universe's support, my business grew exponentially. But initially, it was about the fact that your health is a daily choice and your health is not unidimensional. It's not just about fitness, weight. It's not just about how many squats you can do. It's not about how clean you are eating. Your health is multidimensional and it is a circle. It is all interconnected. Your mind, body, emotions, and your spirit are all interconnected. So it is holistic, right? And we tend to single out just physical health, as I said, in our society. And we need to start bringing in more of the mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects in as well. And looking after your health from that holistic point of view is something that you get to do daily so that you can live a more fulfilling and abundant life, so that you can feel more content in your life. And so therefore, holistic daily, because I believe that showing up for your well-being is a daily act of self-love.
Wow, great. That was great. And I was able to understand that why it is Holistic Daily. I was trying to understand, so why I had named my company, means my podcast as Let's Talk Clarity. Because somehow I'm trying to bring out clarity, and while I'm naming Let's Talk Clarity, it is bringing me clarity to so many fields. Because whenever I'm doing something and I'm having two answers, I always say to myself that let's bring clarity, let's bring clarity. And the name pushes us to do that clarity part in our own life. So the same way means what you have described it is how to do the health as a holistically, and we have to do as a daily choice.
Yeah.
So Raashi, for the listeners, how to get in touch with you, and means how to understand what are your courses, and how they can contact you for your courses.
Yes. So I am most active on the social media platform Instagram. And on Instagram, I am at Wellness by Raashi. That's RAASHI, Wellness by Raashi. And through the link in my bio on Instagram, you can go to all the offers I have, whether it's a new workshop, whether it's a wait list for a future workshop, or it's just the freebies that I have available. You can find them all through my link in bio. And if someone isn't on Instagram, then my website is holisticdailybyraashi.com.
So I will link these handles on the description of this episode.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah. This brings me to end of this episode. And I always ask my guest one of my questions that very close to my heart, that if you want to write an autobiography, what would you name your autobiography?
She lived with her soul.
She lived with your soul. And can you describe what will be the last chapter of the autobiography, how that autobiography will end?
You know, I imagine this often, and I imagine it daily pretty much, you know, when I'm making a decision or when I'm asking myself, what's the next step? For example, even when you asked, how did I get clarity of purpose? And I was quitting my job to start my own business, I asked myself this question, will I regret it if I don't do this? And if I were on my deathbed and I look back, would I regret not doing this? And I believe in having no regrets. I really don't have too many regrets in life. But that is a question I ask myself. Would I be happy with this decision? And therefore, when I imagine the last chapter, it's always about feeling fulfilled, feeling content, and most importantly for me, smiling and experiencing that joy that really comes from being connected to your spirit and your soul is so important. So when I imagine, you know, the last few years of my life, it's really about continuing to find joy in life. It's about continuing to grow and evolve no matter what age I am, even if I'm 95 or I'm 96. And continuing to feel grateful to have an additional day to live and laugh.
Wow, that was amazing and insightful. From this, I just understood that the last chapter will be she lived with her soul. Wow, that was amazing. There's one last question which I want to ask is that you initially also you told that there are no failures, and now also you again told that there are no regrets. So how to achieve that mindset that to have failure as a friends or there's no regret in our life?
Me personally, I think I was born with this, without the word failure in my dictionary. And I've been fortunate to not be exposed to it as much in terms of, during my growth years. But I think that self-belief and faith and self-compassion really help when something doesn't go your way. You listen to any inspirational speaker and they will say there are no failures. There are just learnings. And I was listening to this other video the other day, and I think Jordan missed 5,000 times is the figure. I'm not sure if I'm right. So please, no one quote me on it. But he missed 5,000 times before he made, I think, one of his most phenomenal goals or something like that. The greatest athletes in this world are not born like that. They work for it. And the difference is that when they do not do something well, I don't call it failure. I just say, oh, it didn't go that well. So how can I be better next time, right? So I would say first remove that word only from your dictionary and say, oh, this didn't go as planned. So what can I change so that it goes as planned? What were my learnings from this time that I can apply to next time so that I can have a better result or a better outcome? Even in my business, I received 60 no's before I received my first yes for a coaching client, right? Okay. And with every no I received, I learned a different way to sell. I learned a different way to speak. I learned a different tone to take on. I learned how to listen. So I believe that it's important to extract those learnings and continue to have faith and belief in yourself and your ability to be able to extract those learnings and apply them so that you finally achieve your desired outcome or the result. And as far as regrets are concerned, I would say that in the last 2 years, I've definitely had a couple of regrets that I've worked through. And what helped me through it was acceptance, right? Accepting how I felt about it and accepting that nothing can be changed. So how can I make peace with this and then move on? And the big part with acceptance and the important part with acceptance there is realizing that you cannot control everything. Control is an illusion. The only thing we truly have control over are our own mind and our own emotions and our own actions. Beyond that, you cannot control anything. So what we tend to do because of our conditioning is that we single ourselves out and put all blame on ourselves. I failed because of me. And I regret that everything went wrong because of me. And then this soul that we are, this person who we are, who is constantly doing the best that we can, because I truly believe every person is doing the best that they can in any given moment, we'll end up criticizing ourselves, blaming ourselves, giving us such a hard time. It becomes impossible to move forward. So being kind to yourself and recognizing that there are certain factors out of your control and you did the best that you could in that situation with the resources that you have helped accept the situation a lot more. And once you can make peace with that situation, you can move forward. All of these failure, regrets are all a part of your own personal growth journey so that you can live a more fulfilling and enriched life in the future.
Wow, that was great because we don't have to be harsh to ourselves. Yeah, generally we are so many critic to ourselves and we are always on a harsher side to ourselves.
Absolutely.
So you were talking about last 2 years and last 2 years were very difficult in terms of COVID and it has changed the whole scenario of the world and the way we think and the way we act. In the last 2 years, what was your learnings in this COVID scenario?
First, before I answer this question, I want to say that my heart goes out to everyone and I can feel empathetic towards everyone who went through difficult times during the pandemic. I understand how difficult a situation it was for so many people and so many countries, right? So my heart goes out to everyone who faced a challenging time during COVID. For me personally, I am extremely grateful for the last 2 years because I had, touch wood, and thank the universe. I was blessed with purpose. I was blessed with finding my husband. in these 2 years and marrying him. I met him in the first wave and married him in the second wave.
Wow.
And I was blessed with being able to help so many people through the pandemic. With their mental health, with their emotional health, with their physical health. It was the most exponential personal growth I have had in my life. And it was exponential growth for my business as well. So I'm very grateful to have had these last 2 years of the pandemic play out the way that they did for me. I do believe that how mindful I am with consumption of information, how fierce I am with protecting my own energy, and also how dedicated I am to my spiritual practice all really helped me through the pandemic. So I was completely alone during the first lockdown. In fact, I was living alone. My washing machine broke down. I was washing towels and sheets with my own hands. But I had a lot of fun doing all of that. And I mean, that was the time when I had 5,000 rupees in my bank account. And April to May was, in fact, when I received the 60 no's, right at the beginning of the pandemic. But on a daily basis, I would show up and ask myself, how can I have fun today? How can I make housework more fun? How can I feel joy today? What can I do to make myself feel alive? And that's what I would do on a daily basis. And I feel that that's what helped me get my first client. That's what helped me make it through being alone for, 3 months without meeting another human being. That's what helped me manage home and my business. So I attribute a lot of it to my mindset, my spiritual practices, and how dedicated I am to my own health and well-being.
Wow, that was an amazing journey that you met your then fiance in wave 1 and then married in wave 2.
Yeah.
So we can discuss those episode also in some of the future episode of Let's Talk Clarity.
Yeah. Clarity on life partner.
Life plan.
That's actually one of my programs as well.
Oh, wow. So thank you, Raashi, for being on the show. And it was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. You asked such interesting questions. It really encouraged me and invited me to dive deep and come out with all of this. So thank you. I felt like I was on a date with myself.
That was good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Clarity with Rakesh. Please subscribe or follow this podcast on your preferred platform so that you don't miss any important episodes. Have clarity, listen clarity, and let's talk clarity. Let's talk clarity.